Do you clean your golf clubs? Is it worth it? Does it make a difference at all? Well, in this video, we're going to find out. I've got a dirty old pitching wedge. There's mud in the grooves. It's not been cleaned probably ever. We're going to hit some shots, see how it flies, see what the numbers look like. We're then going to give this golf club a really good clean and hit it with fresh grooves to see if there's a difference. Will there be any? Will there be nothing? Well, in this video, we're going to find out. Millions and millions of pounds get spent on R&D development by some of the biggest golf brands in the world when it comes to golf club design. And grooves on a club face has been an integral part of golf for a long time. But how much difference do they actually make? What effect does it have? Because technology in golf clubs have really come on leaps and bounds, obviously over the last decade and way before that as well. And you think all that time and effort these engineers put into it, if that all gets covered up with mud, if it all gets forgotten about in a dirty old golf bag, what effect does it have? Well, let's find out. I've got a pitching wedge here. This is just a Ping eye blade. It's actually one of my old golf clubs that I would have in the bag. And obviously I didn't look after them before I swapped to something new. So God knows when this mud is from. It's many, many years old. I'm 130 yards away from the flag. There's a couple of things I want to look for here is consistency of shot and distance, and also spin. Like, is the muddiness in the grooves going to affect spin? Because really grooves are used to disperse water and any debris before you come to hit the shot. Often it's the friction on the club face, the roughness of the face that actually creates the spin. So let's see if the roughness is still there or whether that's even being affected by the mud. There might be a few of you watching saying, that's not dirty, you should see my set. Look at this, straight out the block. It's on the green and it stopped pretty quick. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people watching this video will be looking at their own set of golf clubs and going, hold on, Rick, that isn't mud. I've got some proper muddy clubs, but I think this is a fair representative of a club that needs cleaning. Anyway, I don't know why I took these clubs out of the bag, they feel great. So 4 shots so far, and to be honest, every one of them's on the green, and the ball on the simulator looks like that's stopping pretty quickly, but I suppose it is a pitching wedge. Okay, I'm going to do a bit of experimenting here. As I mentioned before, grooves is really to disperse moisture, any debris away before the club hits the ball. So what happens when the golf ball is wet? Because that again is where the grooves play a huge part. And with them baked full of mud, will it have a negative impact? We're then going to clean the club and do the same test as well. Dry ball and wet ball, and then we'll look into the numbers. Okay. Dirty club, wet ball. That's what's crazy. So that golf ball was wet then. The club was dry but dirty. I've just hit that shot. The face now is really wet. But again, it's almost like the moisture has stayed on the face because it's got no channels to get off because all the grooves are blocked up with mud. Like there's nowhere for the water to go. Let's spray the ball again. That's actually really interesting. Why not go so high? Right, that is really interesting. That first off went unbelievably higher. It's gone further, it's gone through the green with no spin. I'll dive into numbers in a bit. That was really interesting. I'm going to go one more with the wet ball and then we'll clean the face. Okay, the pitching wedge has been fully cleaned, all the mud's been scraped out of the grooves, it's perfectly dry, and the ball is dry as well. We're going to test it with a wet ball, but let's go dry first. Okay, let's wet the golf ball with the clean club, and then we'll start looking at some numbers. What's really interesting with that is, again, the wet ball splashes water onto the face at contact, obviously, but you can tell it's much more dispersed. Like the grooves are doing the job to move the water away from the face so that friction can still take place, right? Couple more. Wet ball, dry, clean club. Okay, the results are in, and it's quite mind-blowing. I'm going to start off by looking at the clean club versus the dirty club when the ball was dry. And the numbers are absolutely exactly the same. Well, genuinely, there's no difference at all. You might be thinking, great, I never have to clean my clubs again. Whoa, because we've discovered something quite interesting. So when the ball is dry, and as I mentioned before, the main job of grooves isn't for spin. The friction on the face is for spin. The grooves is to disperse moisture and debris away from the contact so the club gets the best contact. When we throw in the wet element to this is where we see some really interesting things. So this is when the ball was wet and the club was dirty and the club was clean. Check out this one. When the ball was wet, yet the club was dirty, there was a huge drop off in spin. 3,000 RPM spin drop off. And in fact, a couple of shots had as little as 4,000 RPM spin. When the ball landed on the green, it literally rolled forward. And interestingly, the launch was so outrageously high. Don't say that's a good thing. It was inconsistent. Like, there was no way I could guarantee how that would hit the green. And to really get nerdy on this, I want you to notice the small number below the spin rates. That's the standard deviation. As you can see, on the clean dirty and clean when wet, the deviation was only 300 RPM. Check out when it was dirty wet. 2,500 RPM of variance, of unpredictability. Also, notice under the launch numbers as well, and this is getting really nerdy, but when you look at the 4.6 degrees of launch angle difference when it's dirty wet, how the hell can you hit it consistently when you've got that much change in launch? And to give an example there, the launch angle when it's dirty wet can be anywhere between 35 degrees of launch angle and 25 degrees of launch. That is way too much of a difference. What was interesting, when the ball was wet and the club was clean, the grooves were doing its job. The grooves were moving the water out of the way, so the spin still stayed really high. And you might think, well, Rick, I don't play golf in wet weather. I never play golf. I live in California. It's always beautiful sunshine. Hold on a second, because obviously golf courses, it's Mother Nature. You're going to get moisture on the grass, whether that's even just morning dew, whether that's irrigation or sprinklers out on the golf course, there will be moisture. If you want consistent shots, looking at this data, clean, dry golf clubs and ideally golf ball will give you the best results from those beautiful, expensive clubs that you've just bought. Guys, thanks for watching. Stay tuned, lots more to come. We're going to do a few more of these kind of experimental videos on this channel, trying to maybe bust some myths. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned, lots more to come. Be sure to subscribe to H.I.T and keep your clubs clean, everyone. It's important. I need to remember this as well. We'll see you next time.